So, have you been following the development of Stormgate?
Yes, not like super in detail, but if there's an announcement on Twitter or something like that, like I'll take a look at it. Yeah.
Is there anything you're particularly excited about with that game?
Mm, okay, two things. Number one, and at this point it's very subjective, but I saw a lot of backlash against the overall artwork of the game. I actually really like it. People are saying it looks very cartoony and stuff like that. I really like the artwork. I'm excited for the artwork. I know it's kind of random. It
Oh
has
no, I
nothing to
think
do
it's
with the
really
gameplay.
charming. Did you see that graphic they released recently with a bunch of the flying demon units that a lot of them have like one eye, and
Yeah,
some
yeah,
yeah I want to fly around and kill stuff with those real bad.
yeah. Yeah, it looks cool. Like it still looks a bit demonic and stuff like that, but
Yeah,
it's like a little bit more like cartoony, anime-ish.
yeah.
And I like it. I like the artwork.
I think that
Okay,
has a
that is
broader appeal, like to a
yeah,
lot of casuals. They see that and they're like, oh, that's kind of cute and cool.
and that's good, right? Because if you want people, especially now, to get into the RTS, I feel like that art style is kind of like the fashion right now.
Yeah.
So if you add that, I think it's a good way to get people to who maybe have not played RTS to get into the game, especially probably like younger people, right? Who don't have experience with other RTSs. So I think apart from like it looking good to me, I think it's a good choice overall for like the sake of the game. Um, but that aside, I really like how they're trying to make it as responsive as StarCraft. Like that's been a huge thing for me when it comes to playing other RTSs. I'll play like AoE, and it's like the unit control just feels so clunky
Hmm.
and slow. And maybe if it wasn't as clunky, I would be okay with it. But the thing is, just the units just don't feel as responsive, and it gets really hard for me to play the game because I'm so used to like the fluidness of the StarCraft units that when I try to play the games, I feel like they don't do the stuff that I want. The units don't do the things that I want them to do, or in the way that I feel like they could do it. So I'm really excited because I think that Stormgate is going to do that, and then everything will be really responsive compared to at least I hope they do that. I'm pretty sure they will though. Compared to the other RTSs, and that alone is enough to get me to be hyped about the game. I can't say like that because of that it's going to be like super good and it's going to pop off and that kind of stuff. But I think the gameplay aspect of it is what I'm most excited for. And like I think there was like a picture of like the console, the in-game console, like the mini map was like that looked pretty nice too, and it looked like simplified, but it had all your essential elements in it. So yeah, honestly, I am really excited about the game. Um, can't come out any sooner. But I'm actually okay if they take their time with it because I think that a lot of games these days are kind of rushed.
Yep.
And you always see those memes, especially on Twitter. It's like of X game like came out and it's absolutely terrible. I don't want that to happen, so I hope they take their time with it. It's okay. Even if I'm 30, I'll play with it. I won't be like I don't think I'll be as fast, but hey, I'll give it a shot, like that kind of thing. But yeah, super hyped.
A lot of half baked games come out, and even if they could be a good game through patches and stuff, it creates such a negative public perception at release, and it ends up really, I think, hurting people's opinion of it, right? Because like I feel like once there's a really negative prevailing opinion about something, like in the general public, it kind
Mhm.
of never goes away.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like that happened with Cyberpunk. I think the game
Hmm.
is better now. It's probably like actually playable. I'm sure. I think it's like missing a lot of elements that they were gonna add to the game, but they didn't end up doing. But as soon as like it became an absolute failure at the beginning, I didn't even want to bother trying it. So yeah, that it's a good way of killing your own game, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, right?
Yeah, no, and I think that's great though, because it seems like that's exactly what they're not doing, right? Super
Yeah,
taking
yeah,
their
yeah.
time, and just putting things out there in bits and pieces, and also it seems like they're really really focused on community feedback and
Yeah.
making sure that they're making as many people happy as possible without compromising their core beliefs.
Yes, yeah, yeah. And you can see it on Twitter too. Like they got Pig in there, Zombie Grub, a lot of content creators who are also big parts of the scene. Whether they're casters or pro players or whatever. They have kind of like everybody. And yeah, that's exactly what they need.
Do
And I think that means they're gonna do good.
do you think like 2v2 3v3 like RTS has a place at the highest level? Do you think that we could see like I guess for you personally, like do you think would participate in team RTS games at a competitive level?
Maybe like a 2v2. I really can't imagine doing more than a 2v2. And I think a part of why I can't imagine it is not even so much that because it's not possible. I just haven't seen it yet, so I can't really like say as to whether it be good or not. But like StarCraft 2 2v2 tournaments, I feel like those are fun to watch and it can be interesting to watch, especially depending on the team.
Yeah.
Because some teams, like one team is kind of random, but like one team that I always feel like is really creative is you Thermal and Goblin,
Hmm.
and they like to play 2v2 tournaments a lot together whenever they pop up, and they always do like really cool stuff. So I feel like if you had teams like them, it's pretty sick. Um, but yeah, I mean, I would be down to try it. I actually think that would be pretty cool. And I could definitely see 2v2 being a thing. I don't know about like 3v3 plus kind of game mode stuff. But yeah, I think it's just because I've never seen it before, so I can't really imagine it.
Fair enough.
But it would be sick. I think it would be pretty sick.
Yeah, I think it goes a long way to getting the casual people into the game, right?
Yeah,
Because people don't want to play 1v1 games. Like, there's a reason, like, tennis and boxing are not as popular as football and soccer, right? Like, people like team games. People like doing stuff with their friends.
yeah,
And when it's, like, obviously StarCraft is awesome, but like, considering 1v1 the only, like, serious format, I think is a huge detriment to the game, right? Like, I think for the most part, the public perception of StarCraft and 1 and 2 has always been that, like, it's a 1v1 game and there are other modes.
yeah,
And I think that would be a bad decision for Stormgate, at least from like a mass market appeal. I don't think a 1v1 game, at least in the RTS or like outside of like card games, I don't think a 1v1 game is going to capture the hearts of millions like what we're
yeah,
hoping this game could do.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
I agree with that.
but so I guess I think I probably know the answer to this. But like, so if there's a developed pro scene, do you think you would try to dedicate like full time to Stormgate the way you have with StarCraft?